पूरे देश को ये बताने आया हूं कि हमने 3 कृषि कानूनों को वापस लेने का, रिपील करने का निर्णय लिया है।
ये नहीं कि घोषणा करते किसान चले गया ना, पूरा समाधान चाहते हैं, सरकार से बातचीत चाहते हैं, एक बातचीत का माहौल क्रिएट हो।
मोदी जी के अहंकार की हार हुई है। एक अहिंसक आंदोलन जिस पर गांधी जी को गर्व होता, क्योंकि ये गांधी जी के विचारों की प्रेरणा थी।
केंद्र सरकार को किसानों के संघर्ष के आगे झुकना पड़ा और तीनों काले कानून वापस लेने पड़े। आज सिर्फ किसानों की जीत नहीं हुई है, आज जनतंत्र की जीत हुई है।
Hello everyone, you're watching News Epicenter with me, Maria Shakil. For the past 1 year, the Modi government's 3 farm laws aimed to reform the sector and empower small-scale farmers have been at the center of a political firestorm. Farmer groups have been agitating across the country, namely at the borders of the national capital region, and have been fueled by the opposition parties for one basic demand: repeal. Today, on Guru Nanak Jayanti, with the state elections in Punjab and Uttar Pradesh right round the corner, Prime Minister Narendra Modi made the big announcement that his government has decided to repeal the 3 laws, appealing to the protesters to go back home. Before making that announcement, the Prime Minister made it clear that the new laws would have benefited the farmers. They were framed after extensive consultations and they were welcomed by many farmer groups and economists. But he said, "Unki tapasya mein kuch kami reh gayi." Despite multiple rounds of talks, the Prime Minister said his government failed to end the deadlock and failed to convince protesting farmers to achieve consensus over the 3 laws. Now, opposition parties are scrambling to claim credit, saying it was their efforts which pushed the centre to repeal the 3 laws, as the Prime Minister has taken the sting out of the entire controversy. But the offensive continues, from Rakesh Tikait to Punjab Chief Minister Charanjit Singh Channi, who say that they don't trust the centre and will only end the protest when the parliament formally repeals the 3 laws. Now, the Modi government is not known for rollbacks. It remains a mighty political force both in the centre and across multiple states. But the political calculations for the poll-bound states is clear, namely Punjab and Uttar Pradesh. From ties with Captain Amrinder Singh to consolidating its position in Western UP, the BJP has created room to renegotiate and stabilize its political strategy. Be it land acquisition or GST in the past, this move has once again shown the Modi government remains politically pragmatic, constantly evaluating the fallout of its policies. Is this then the BJP's attempt to cut its losses ahead of the election season? Let me bring in my guests on News Epicenter this hour. Gurcharan Das, economist and author. Kulwant Singh Sandhu is General Secretary, Jamhuri Kisan Sabha Punjab. Adil Singh Bopara is the Congress spokesperson. Aparajita Singh is the BJP spokesperson. I'm going to begin with you, Gurcharan Das. These were forward-looking agro-trade reforms. One cannot deny that. Agriculture scientists and policy experts had lauded this move by the government. Then how do you look at this repeal? Is this politics winning over economic reforms?
Yes, Maria, it looks like politics has won over economics, and it's a sad day for India, for India's farmers, for the Punjab farmer, for whom this is not a victory but a defeat, a self-goal. And we as a country have lost the opportunity for a second green revolution, at least for the time being. And you know, Maria, it didn't have to be like this. If I had been in place of Mr. Modi, I'd have done, I would have followed what we learnt in 2006 with the implementation of VAT, when many states did not want it. So we gave them freedom to implement it, and within a year, all of them wanted to join VAT. Similarly, here, we should have, since agriculture is also a state subject, we should have given the freedom to the states to implement it. A lot of them wanted to. At least the BJP states, they should have ensured, implemented. And today, 65% of the farmers would have been free, would have been liberated, and they would have been, these laws would have been in power in
I can certainly see that disappointment, Gurcharan Das. I'm going to come back to you, sir, because you and I have had extensive discussion on why these were the need of the hour. You have been backing these reforms for the last 1 year relentlessly as well. Aprajita Sarangi, why did the government go back on a legislation it had backed with conviction? Look at the point being made by Gurcharan Das here. If it was about not all states agreeing, then the states could have been given that choice.
A very good evening. Yes, we have all heard our Honorable Prime Minister today at 9 a.m. He has made a very important announcement. All the 3 farm laws would be withdrawn, and in fact we are all waiting for the parliament session which would begin on 29th of November, and we will have to go through the parliamentary procedures as he has stated. Now let me tell you that on 20th of September 2020, these 3 farm laws had been brought into existence, or rather the farm bills were converted into the farm laws by detailed discussions in both houses of parliament with the best of intentions. Let me tell you very candidly, I'm very forthright about this, so the Prime Minister and the central government have the best of intentions as far as the farmers' interests are concerned. You can see one after the other we are coming up with welfare measures for the farmers. We wanted reforms in the farm sector, and that is why these 3 farm laws had been brought. Today, as has been told by the Prime Minister, 80% of our farmers are small and marginal, owning less than 2 hectares of land. And with their concerns in mind, these farm laws have been brought about. We wanted our farmers to get right price, or rather high price for the produce, one, and number 2,
is this
they
also
should
an
have alternative options for
that
marketing.
Despite best intention, despite these laws being in the best interest of the farmers, you failed to convince them?
See, we had stakeholder consultations, and we had lots of consultations in the parliament too. I'm a member of parliament, so I know what kind of debate we had in the parliament. But unfortunately, a particular segment of the population could not actually take what we wanted to convey to them, or rather, it is said, a man convinced against his will is of the same opinion still. They wanted to remain where they were. They did not want to be convinced, and that was the whole problem. Now here is a Prime Minister who does not want disorderly state of affairs. He wants peace, he wants tranquility, he wants to stand by each and every farmer. He does not want anybody to feel discontented or disheartened. So I think for that matter, in the larger interests of the nation, and keeping in view the fact that a segment of the population was not very happy, these farm laws have been withdrawn.
Okay, Adil, during the UPA, we had seen the government withdraw multiple laws. You had said then that those were decisions that should be seen as a government being receptive, the one that respects the will of the citizens. Going by that logic, shouldn't this move of the Prime Minister be seen as the Modi government respecting the sentiments of a particular section of the farmers?
Well, Maria, there's a fundamental distinction. Number one, Mr. Modi has finally bowed down before the will of the farmers, and the arrogance of the BJP has been defeated. Number two, more than 700 farmers have lost their lives. They've laid down their lives, they've sacrificed their lives for this struggle, and the Congress party vehemently and emphatically pays homage. Number three, please understand this. It is quite clear that this decision has been taken not in the interest of the farmers, but in the face of unprecedented backlash in the impending elections. Be that as it may, but please understand the BJP's intentions. These are the same BJP spokespersons, the same ministers, and unfortunately the same Prime Minister who dehumanized the farmers, who demonized the farmers, who called my brother and terrorists and Khalistanis, who casually labeled us as anti-nationals. This was the BJP's conduct. It was this strategy which the BJP had deployed to defeat our will. But
Aparajita,
finally, the farmers have succeeded,
Aparajita,
and I bow down to their resilience.
Okay, you know,
As
a
son
number
a
of
farmer,
opposition
I bow down
leaders
to the resilience of
have
the farmers.
pitched it as the government bowing down to the interest of the farmers. The Prime Minister said that he apologized, and he said that despite his best intentions, perhaps a section of the farmers could not be convinced. Aparajita, okay,
Can I just
Aparajita,
complete, Maria? 30 seconds.
yes,
30 seconds.
yes.
Maria, his apology means nothing. 700 families have been devastated. 700 families. More than 700 farmers lost their lives at the borders of New Delhi. Did he go even meet a single family member?
Okay.
What about the
Aparajita, respond to that.
Farmers were mowed down.
Respond to that
They were crushed under their
charge.
wheels with
That
arrogance.
the kind of comments that were made by multiple BJP leaders.
See, let me tell you honestly, we firmly stand by the farm laws even now, number one. Number two, let me tell you that we had stakeholders consultations, and these farm laws were actually brought about with the best of intentions, and we still think that if these farm laws would have been implemented, the small and marginal farmers would have benefited. Now here there is a section of people in the country, I would say some of the opposition parties, they do not want the farmers to have the benefits, as simple as that. And if for even assuaging the feelings of a section of Indians, or rather a section of people of our nation, we have to bow down before them, we would bow down 100 times. You know, it's a question.
Let me get the primary stakeholder in this debate now, Kulwant Singh ji.
There is absolutely no arrogance anywhere.
Okay, Kulwant Singh ji, आप जो चाहते थे वो हो गया. आपने कहा था कि ये कानून इनको वापस लेना चाहिए. प्राइम मिनिस्टर ने बात सुन करके रिपील भी कर दिया. अब तो किसान आंदोलन खत्म करके घर जाएंगे.
सिस्टर, अभी रिपील नहीं हुआ. ये कानून पार्लियामेंट में बने थे जिसको हम ब्लैक लॉज बोलते हैं. अभी रिपील नहीं हुआ. अभी अनाउंसमेंट हुआ है पीएम का. अभी ये पार्लियामेंट में जाएंगे, पार्लियामेंट में ही रिपील होंगे. इसके अलावा ये 3 करोड़ के अलावा एमएसपी का मसला अभी नहीं सुलझा है. इलेक्ट्रिसिटी बिल 2020 अभी पेंडिंग है. और इसके अलावा डीजल जो इतना महंगा कर दिया इतने दौर में, उसमें से किसानों की डिमांड है कि 50% रेट पर मिलना चाहिए. हमारे सभी लोगों पर केस जो मरे हुए हैं सैकड़ों की, हजारों की तादाद में, वो अभी डिस्कशन का मुद्दा है. हम किसान 26 को पूरा साल होने के दिवस पर बड़ी रैली करेंगे. हजारों लाखों लोग बॉर्डर की तरफ चल पड़े हैं और 2-3 दिन में वो पहुंच जाएंगे. जब तक पार्लियामेंट में ये रिपील नहीं होते और एमएसपी पर बात नहीं होती और दूसरे
तो ये आंदोलन खत्म नहीं होगा,
माने जाते तो हम कहीं बॉर्डर पर.
तो आप पे ये आरोप लगेगा कि आप गोल पोस्ट शिफ्ट कर रहे हैं. आप चाहते थे ये, आप जिस कानून को आप काले कानून बोल रहे थे, वो सरकार आपके सामने अग्री कर रही है, उन्होंने विड्रॉ कर लिया है, रिपील कर दिया है. अब आप कोई और बात कर रहे हैं, कोई और डिमांड ला रहे हैं.
नहीं सिस्टर, ये गलत बात है. हमारा 8 डिमांड का डिमांड चार्टर दिया हुआ है. 8 डिमांड्स है हमारी, 3 नहीं. 3 कानूनों को तो हम एक डिमांड बोलते हैं. सेकंड एमएसपी को बोलते हैं. थर्ड इलेक्ट्रिसिटी बिल 2020, जो फोन की तरह, चिप की तरह मीटर लगेंगे हमारे पंजाब में, तमिलनाडु में, कई और स्टेटों में, हरियाणा में बिजली की मोटरों के बिल माफ हैं. वो चिप वाले मीटर लगा रहे हैं तो वो तो सिंचाई करनी करेगा किसान. तो जो ये बोलते हैं कि हमने जो मोदी जी ने बोला है, ये नहीं बोला कि कानून गलत है.
Yes.
वो बोलते हैं कि हम
Maria, you are right.
Hello.
Maria, you are right. They are shifting the goalpost, and let me tell you, the wind is out of their sails. They don't know what to do now. The Prime Minister felt that there was disruption in the peace and tranquility in the country, and our section of farmers, our segment of farmers were actually being misled by the opposition parties. And for the sake of the peace and tranquility of the nation, in fact, the Prime Minister has decided to withdraw all these farm laws. And now these people have their wind, have their wind out of their sails. They don't know what to do. So
Okay.
they are shifting the goalposts.
Okay,
Very
Adil,
confused all of them seem to
Adil,
be.
one may also say that the BJP is trying to cut its losses, but the Congress will face a tough challenge in Punjab, for example, because you'll have an Akali Dal saying that we walked out of alliance with the BJP because of these laws, Captain Amrinder saying, claiming a victory, and also you all, even Aam Aadmi Party.
Maria, I hail from that state, and let me say this with a certain degree of responsibility. Captain Amrinder Singh's party is nothing more than a cipher, number one. Number two, the BJP is persona non grata in the BJP. Ask any child in any village or tehsil of Punjab. Number two.
No, I'm not
Number
talking about
three,
BJP. I'm talking about Akalis and Aam Aadmi Party.
Akali Dal is accused of drug trafficking in the state. Who's going to vote for them? They are the epitome of corruption in the state. And Aam Aadmi Party is B team of the BJP. It is only the Congress Party and with the Congress Party's efforts that we have reached this stage today where Mr. Narendra Modi had to repeal the laws. But coming to the more fundamental point, it is the BJP which crushed the farmers. It is the BJP MOS Home's son who crushed the farmers in Lakhimpur Kheri. And responding to shifting of the goalposts, Maria, let me remind you from the word go. All the 32 farm unions very clearly said that making MSP a statutory right is their fundamental demand.
Okay.
So therefore,
I'll give the final words to Gurcharan Das. I exactly have 30 seconds for you, Gurcharan Das. What happens to the farm laws now?
Well,
they will be repealed, but what about their future? What is their future?
I worry, a much bigger worry for me is the future of India's reforms. That opposition now has tasted blood, and they are not going to allow any reform, anything that's good for the country. We are going to return to a 1 rupee a kilo rice. We are going to return to the demand for free electricity, free power, for destroying the air of North India. This is what this is going to lead to.
Okay.
And I just feel that this is a Black Friday that we have witnessed. And I would like to ask the BJP representative, why couldn't they have implemented, given the states, only 6% of India's farmers benefit from MSP.
Fine enough.
The
Gurcharan Das.
rest of the people were in favor of these laws.
All right, Gurcharan Das, always a pleasure to have you on my shows. Thank you so much for joining us. Kulwant Singh Sandhu, Adil and Aprajita Sarangi. That's all from me. Thanks so much for watching.